The Great Depression lasted from 1929 to 1939, and it was the worst economic downturn in the history of the industrialized world. It began after the stock market crashed in October of 1929. However, the stock market crash was not the sole cause of the Great Depression, but it did play a major part. Other causes included monetary contraction, the gold standard, banking panics, and a decline in spending which led to a decrease in production. It was a catastrophe, not just because of the economic chaos and hardship it produced, but because it threatened the liberty that was fundamental to American democracy. The Great Depression was said to be the longest and most severe depression ever experienced. After having many effects, the Great Depression sent America into a panic. One major effect the Great Depression had on America was unemployment, exceeding 20% because of the major decline in economic activity. The gross domestic product decreased constantly for 3 years during this time period. Many people lost their jobs during this time, and those who managed to keep their jobs took pay cuts because business owners could not afford to pay them. After many people lost their jobs, there was an increase in mortality and a decline in life expectancy. Suicides increased due to people suffering from unemployment and having no hope of a brighter future. Corporate debt increased steadily throughout this period, from 110% of investment spending at the beginning of the period up to a six-fold increase in investment spending in 1928. Farm mortgage debt also rose noticeably. Mortgage debt as a percentage of the value of land and buildings rose from 27% in 1910 to 40% in 1930. Farmers were also hit hard in the crisis. Not only were prices for crops falling, there was a drought in Texas that brought along the Dust Bowl. This increased the unemployment rate even more. Although the Great Depression was followed by an expansion period, unemployment still remained high. The increase in crime rate due to unemployment was another effect of the Great Depression. Because so many people had lost their jobs and took pay cuts, they could not afford the basic needs such as food and water for their families. Therefore, they stole it. Many cases of malnutrition were also reported due to people not being able to get the nutrients needed to survive. Prostitution was on the rise due to women becoming desperate trying to find ways to pay their bills and provide for their families. Marriages were often delayed because males were not in a situation to care for themselves, much less a family. Instead of people getting a divorce, the man usually just ran away. This caused the divorce rate to decrease and the abandonment rate to increase. The birth rate also decreased during this time because most parents could not afford a child. In fact, most Americans learned about birth control to avoid unexpected children. Healthcare was not deemed as a necessity due to its cost. People only visited the doctor for serious circumstances. For this reason, an outrage of numerous diseases began to spread and the life expectancy rate decreased. Many people even tried to escape the depression with alcohol, increasing the number of people with alcoholism. As if healthcare wasn't already expensive enough, the increase in alcohol-related diseases caused the price of insurance to go even higher than before. America's international trading partners raised rates on U.S.-made goods because of the disastrous Hawley-Smoot tariff, which raised average tariff rates to almost 60%. In fact, Black Tuesday, when 16 million shares were sold, the value of money had decreased as the demand for the goods declined. The nation thought imposing high tariffs on imported goods would help the cause, but in reality, it only made matters worse. Franklin D. Roosevelt made an attempt to address the damage by reshaping the economy and structure of the United States with his New Deal program. The New Deal program was to employ and give financial security to many Americans. Through radio technology, Roosevelt was able to keep the people informed about what was going on. Herbert Hoover also made an attempt to create growth in the economy through the Reconstruction finance, but did little to solve the crisis. He first wanted minimal government interference until the Great Depression, then he wanted government intervention more than ever. The Reconstruction Finance Corporation lent $2 billion to banks, railroads, and other companies for relief. 8 decades later, memories of the Great Depression continue to shape the outlook and agenda of economics. In particular, they powerfully shaped the policy response to the financial crisis and Great Recession. Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal program improved and was very beneficial to the society, rectifying the damages caused by the Great Depression. The Great Depression negatively impacted the United States by challenging American families in major ways, placing numerous economic, social, and psychological strains on demands upon families. The Great Depression broke the confidence of the American people and their leaders. The future of the economy was unclear after the Great Depression, and unstable strategies were used to attempt to recover from this horrible crisis.